Thanks a lot, Dick. Thank you all for joining the call today. As Senator Blumenthal mentioned, we have the chance to do something historic this week. This bipartisan bill represents the biggest investment, the biggest one-time investment in infrastructure in this country's history, and we should get it done. Now, the bill came out late last night, so speaking for myself, I'm going to take today and read through it in detail to make sure that the priorities that we pushed for as a delegation are accurately represented in that text. But I'm excited about the prospect of passing this legislation this week. This infrastructure bill has the potential to be an economic game changer for Connecticut. Connecticut's economy is dependent on our ability to get people and goods from Connecticut to New York, from Connecticut to Boston, and those pathways have been jammed up by a refusal to continue to invest in our highways, in our system of bridges, and in our rail line. As Dick mentioned, this doesn't get the entire job done, but this is a meaningful and impactful down payment that arguably will have more impact in Connecticut than in almost any other state in the nation, given how reliant we are on the quality of our transportation network. Let me give you a couple examples of some priorities that Senator Blumenthal and I fought for in this package, because while it is true that there's a small group of 5 Republicans and 5 Democrats that have been the primary negotiators, Senator Blumenthal and I have been actively involved with our colleagues to make sure that Connecticut priorities are represented in this package. First, let me talk about the rail spending. Dick and I are of one mind. This is not good enough to get high-speed modern rail to Connecticut. It's going to be the biggest one-time investment in rail infrastructure in the country's history. That's great news, but we need to do more, and we're going to be fighting to get additional dollars. But there was a fight as to how this money was going to be allocated. How much of it was going to go directly to the states? How much of it was going to go to Amtrak? Now, in Connecticut, we love Amtrak, but they don't own the busiest stretch of line in Connecticut. So we wanted to make sure that the bulk of the rail funding could go directly to states to be used on state-owned rail line. Now, this is getting a little bit in the weeds, but this is how these bills can be good for Connecticut or very good for Connecticut. So initially, it was thought that the money would be split evenly between Amtrak and what we call the federal-state partnership, the money that goes directly to states. In the end, for the Northeast Corridor, $24 billion goes to the federal-state partnership, and $6 billion goes to Amtrak. That's really good news for Connecticut. That means we're going to get more projects done on Connecticut's stretch of line. Another Connecticut priority, Long Island Sound. There's a big pot of money in this bill for climate change related projects. And we were able to win a $100 million increase in funding specifically for Long Island Sound, both water quality programs and habitat and coastal restoration in this legislation. That's a big win for Connecticut. We have been able to plus up the funding for that program year after year. About $100 million will make a very big difference. And then lastly, I chair on the Appropriations Committee, the subcommittee that oversees the Homeland Security Committee. And New London and Groton are going to get a big boost out of this bill because we have some historic investments in the Coast Guard. We were able to make sure that there is significant money in this bill for projects at and around the Coast Guard Academy. So we're going to invest about $50 million in infrastructure projects at the Coast Guard. That's going to put a whole ton of people to work. Connecticut craftsmen. But then this bill will also remake the city pier in New London. $6 million to support a new pier in New London to be able to house the Coast Guard cutter Eagle. That's something that we have been fighting for years. It's going to be funded in this bill. Those are just a couple examples of elements of this bill that are going to specifically benefit Connecticut, wins that Senator Blumenthal and I fought for that are in the bill as we are furiously reading through it this morning. So excited to share more details about this legislation as we comb through it to make sure that the final text aligns with the priorities that we have fought for. But again, the potential here is for this bill to be an economic game changer for Connecticut. I'm excited to talk to you all about it this morning.